Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. And today I'll be reading A Scaramouche Listener by me. So let's get into it. Scaramouche does not know how to calm you down at times, but he thinks your fears are justified. They exist for a reason, and the reason is very well known to him. He was not a good man, and right now, he doubts he is. After all of his previous crimes are not just instantly forgiven or forgotten. They exist, and they will haunt him, and haunt you too as well. He told you everything. History may be erased, but he thinks that you ought to know if you were going to spend the rest of your life with him. And it resulted into a fight between the two of you. And that's why he was stuck here, head in his hands, and thinking of what you should do to make things better between the two of you. You had gone on a month break before you went back to him, but even then, things were never the same as before, and he really did not know how to bring them back. But did he want it? That fake reality. He did not truly love him then, because he did not know who he was. So if you had to be honest about it, it was all a lie. He does not want to live in a lie. He wants you to live in truth, the both of you. And that's why he had to be honest. And right now, as you looked at him, his eyes could barely meet yours for more than a second straight. Scaramouche, if you're just gonna call this whole thing off, I don't mind. You told him, upset, and he looked at you with so much hurt in his eyes that only just then you realized that the man whom you loved was the same man he's told you about. The man who's hurt more than 1,000 people. The man who's wanted to hurt and hurt and hurt. And the man who loved you more than anyone has ever had. They were still the same. He was both. He was the man that made you want to wake up the next day. He made you want to see the day tomorrow. And still the man who prevented others from experiencing their future. And it was hard to see life like this, to see him as the man that you love, when everything's so confusing and you feel so jaded. Why do you want to call this off? I never wanted us to be like this. I told you the truth and risked everything that we had because I love you, Ayan. I wouldn't have done this if I wanted to lie to you. And I could have. You know very well that I could have. No one has memories of what I did. No one will ever remember it. Except me. I am the only person who will know. And maybe the traveler as well. But that doesn't matter to me. What matters to me is you. I want you to know. Because you mean so much to me. You are my world, Ryan. And I will not choose to lie to you for the rest of my life. If you want to leave me, then fine. I don't mind. At least now you know who I am. And you can hate me for who I am, not who I am not. You look at him for a moment, your eyes wide, because you can tell how sincere he is, how much he means every single word he said, and how much he loves you, how he's so unwilling for anything to come between you two. And you go into his arms, wrapping yourself around him. I'm sorry. I'm sorry I ever spoke to you like that. I love you so much, Scaramouche. I can't live without you. But things have been hard for me. You had to understand. I couldn't feel it all. When you said that, when you said that you had actually hurt people in the way that you described, it was too much for me to process. I couldn't imagine that the man who did this was the same man that I love. Because I've never seen you hurt anyone. You understand me, right? He stroked your hair gently, relief flowing through his veins. You were finally back to him. You had accepted him as who he is, and you were loving him. You were going to continue on and live on, much better now that you know who he actually is, and there's nothing to hide from you. So, you love me. You love me still, right? I love you. But he really didn't need me to say that loud. But I'll say it again and again and again for you, Scaramouche. You told him, cupping his face in your hands. I love you, and I don't want one thing to change about you. Perhaps I don't understand everything. Maybe it's too much for me to understand. I mean, you've lived centuries. I am sure I won't understand everything that you tell me, but I'm doing my best, and I will continue to try to do that. But promise me that you'll never hide anything from me again. You told him, and he nodded, pressing a soft kiss to your forehead. I promise you, Ayan, that the rest of our lives, I will spend them by your side being true and honest, and there will be no lies between us. He looked you in the eyes as he said those words, taking hold of your hands with his own and squeezing them, and you could tell from the sincerity of his voice and the way his eyes were so solemn and serious. Each word was true, and each word held its weight. There was a promise, and he knew that Scaramouche would fulfill it, and for the rest of the day, he just spent it in the other's presence, enjoying being back together, free of worries, and free of wondering whether the other still loved you or not. But that was mostly Scaramouche's problem. And as for you, maybe Scaramouche was not the most innocent person, and maybe he's done a lot of bad things, but he's trying to atone. And it's been hundreds of years, and he's bound to live way more. But even if you will be there for a fraction of them, you will do your best to help him become the best version of himself, to make up for all that time lost.